23 minutes after the hour, Michael Patrick Shields with United States Congressman Mike Rogers, the Republican from the 8th Congressional District. That's sort of the Lansing, Brighton, Livingston County area. Your calls are welcome at 888-900-9966. I promised that Kyle in Okemos would be next, and he is. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Michael.
Thank you. You have a question for the Congressman?
Yeah, definitely. Congressman, you've been talking a lot about saving money today, which is obviously on a lot of people's minds right now. But I guess one question I had is one kind of big waste of money to me that's coming up right now. It seems like the Justice Department obviously about to fight that Arizona law, and I was wondering, is there any maybe attempts being made within Congress to pull funding from fighting Arizona like that? Because I feel like the federal government fighting a state trying to protect its own border doesn't seem like a very efficient use of federal dollars.
Yeah, it certainly raises a lot of questions, that whole case. I think there'll be some efforts. I don't know how successful they'll be. I'll support it. I don't think it's right for the federal government to do that. Mainly, and I have actually read the law, and I recommend people to do it. It's not very long. I think the thing is maybe 17 pages long, maybe even 11 now I think about it. So it's not very long. And the things that you hear from the pundits and the political spin masters about what the bill does or doesn't do just aren't even close to being accurate. And what it does is it actually talks about enforcing what is a federal law. If you're here in any capacity as a non-citizen, you have to have some paperwork with you. That's federal law. And basically what it says is if I stop you for something else, I can't stop you for the way you look. I can't stop you for your ethnicity. I can't do any of those things. But if I do stop you and you've broken, or I at least suspect that you may have done something else wrong, which is why police officers stop you in the first place, and there's some other indication, he can ask for your identification. Well, guess what? Police officers are supposed to ask for your identification anyway. So this whole notion, they have completely blown up what this is all about. And what they're saying is we're having a horrible problem. Think about what Arizona's gone through. They've had police officers executed. They have had illegal border crossings and executed police officers in their home in Arizona. It is a huge problem. So the notion that we're going to sue them to stop them from doing this, I think absolutely is the wrong direction to solving the problem. We should protect the borders first. Then we can talk about any other changes that they want to make. But we've got to at least protect the borders. I hope they stop the lawsuit and would actually try to go down there and say, what do we need to do to help you with this huge illegal immigration problem?
Tommy in Grand Rapids, you're in the air at 888-900-9966. Good morning.
Thank you, Michael Patrick. I'm a small business owner, a restaurant owner in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and member of the Michigan Restaurant Association, and I'm also on the board of the Michigan Fair Tax. Congressman, are you familiar with the Michigan Fair Tax?
I am familiar with the Fair Tax.
And this would, to me, it would shape our state, make it create jobs, and make us number one in business creating state. What do you think of it?
Yeah, this is just so everybody knows, they're going to raise the sales tax to 9.75% and get rid of lots of other taxes?
You would hope, yeah, if they did it.
Yeah, it would be get rid of personal property tax, income tax, and Michigan business tax.
Yeah, radical, isn't it?
Yeah. No, listen, the concept. I like the concept. But here's the problem I have with the fair. I'm a flat tax guy. I would like to do a flat tax. Here's what you pay. If you make $100, you pay this percentage. If you make $1 million, you pay this percentage. Everybody pays the same percentage. I think that's more equitable. And here's my problem with the fair tax. Part of the fair tax has it that if you're under a certain income level, they do this calculation and you get a check back because they're trying to estimate what you would have paid in taxes, sales taxes, on food and other things. And if you're economically challenged, you can imagine that takes a big bite out of your budget. So that what would happen is every single month, the government sends you a check back. And I have a real problem with this notion that the government is going to send checks to a whole class of Americans, and they're going to count on those checks. And what happens in politics is somebody's going to say, well, you know what, that check isn't big enough. I'm going to do more to get you a bigger check because I don't think you're – and I get very worried, and that's the one part of the fair tax I really don't like. And so I think you can get away from that by being supporting a flat tax. But I think it's great. If we're having a debate about fair tax versus flat tax, Americans are going to win that debate whichever way.
One way or the other. Cecilia in Okemos, you're in the air with Congressman Mike Rogers. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, and thank you again to, like a previous caller said, thanks, Congressman Rogers, for representing the people of America well.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. My question is this: is Congress aware? Are you aware of the erosion that I have heard and read about taking place of the rights of the parent over the rights of the child? I recently heard a constitutional law professor from Cooley Law School talk about United Nations language for an increase in the rights of the child over parental rights, and that this is really bad news for America because it's already happened in Europe and other countries, and that it's on the way in this country.
Yeah, I think what they're talking about, and what you're talking about, or at least the professor is talking about, is that the UN has this charter. They call it a treaty. It's not really recognized as a legal treaty, as I understand it, that does put in place that the state has certain rights over children activities more so than the parents. And that's just an anti-American idea, and we should fight it, and we should not be a part of it. I'm not as well, you should never say never in politics, but we always should be at least worried about it. But I just don't think we'll be a signatory to it. We should not be a signatory to it. We should fight being a signatory to it. If that's what Europe wants to do to their children, that's up to them. They shouldn't. The United Nations should not be part and parcel of having us do the same here in the United States.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. You want to meet a candidate for Congress?
Oh, I always love to meet a candidate.
Terrific. This is Ted Shendell. In fact, you would have a lot to do with him. He's a Republican, retired police officer. He's running for Congressman Pete Hoekstra's seat in West Michigan.
Great.
Good morning, Ted. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. Is this Mike?
It is. Michael Patrick Shields with Congressman Mike Rogers.
Yes, I've been listening, and I couldn't agree more with the congressman and how he's been answering those previous questions.
Well, thanks, Ted.
Given the
we know the secret law enforcement handshake. Just don't tell anybody on the way.
Give us a congressman, if you would, just 20 seconds on your law enforcement background for people who don't know.
Special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I was assigned in Chicago. I worked organized crime, and as a result of working organized crime, public corruption as well in the city.
Ted, your background, if you would, if you're knocking on the door of somebody in Grand Rapids to tell them why you should be the next congressman in Congressman Pete Hoekstra's seat, what do you tell them?
Well, I tell them that I define myself as a Tea Party Republican, that I'm a veteran law enforcement officer since 1981. And what separates me from the other people that are running for Congress is, one, that I'm the average guy. I'm not Joe the plumber. I'm Ted the cop. And I believe that being a representative of the people is both an honor and a privilege and not a career.
Oh, how do you like that?
That's good.
All right. That's a pretty good wrap there. How are you being received in West Michigan? Do you like your chances?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting boots on the ground down in the Holland-Zeeland area. People are putting up my yard signs. I don't have the money that the rest of the individuals have, but that's not deterring me. I'm going forward. I'm knocking on as many doors as I possibly can, and I'm getting a great reception because I think people are just tired of wealthy elitists and politicians that have kind of been ripping them off over the years, and they want to change. They're mad as heck, and they're not going to take it anymore. So I'm looking forward to this election.
Okay, good luck in the primary. We're about 26 days away. Ted Shendell, retired police officer there, running for the seat that has been occupied by Congressman Pete Hoekstra for the better part of 20 years. Now, he says, Congressman, that he's a Tea Party Republican, is I think what he said. We have a Libertarian next running for that same seat, Rich Hemstreet, on the other end of our line from West Michigan. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
Nice to talk to you. What is a Libertarian?
Basically, we believe in less government and less regulation of people and more individual.
It's not that far apart from the Republican mantra, is it, Congressman?
No, it really isn't. There are some differences in that Republicans don't think all of government is bad. Security and the constitutional provisions of it. And what we find with some of our libertarian folks is that they just take it one step further.
Mm-hmm. How are you being received? Do you like the campaign process?
So far, it's all been new to me, but I've had an opportunity to speak to quite a few groups of people, and I'm being received quite well.
Okay, good luck to you the rest of the way. 26 days away from that primary, and